Let's talk about the Huntington program, because there's two big aspects to this. What I want to lead with, and then I want to hear from everybody else. What I want to lead with, and I sent that video message out to you the day that we did the launch call with them, the importance of learning this product backwards and forwards, because Giuseppe's not on the call, but when we had the program originally, Giuseppe was the one that got the most mileage out of it. At least initially, everybody else benefited as well. And we did a lot of doctor loans, but Giuseppe got the most mileage out of it right away because he jumped in with both feet and just dug into the guidelines in the program, and he learned the program. And, this isn't like, this shouldn't take, weeks, right? You should be able to spend a weekend diving in and understanding how to structure those loans and all the ins and outs of how to do them. And it sounds like we're going to have a lot of help and support. We did the onboarding call yesterday with secondary and the operations support team at VIP, like the product desk, and Karen Hoffman was on the call. And so just different people that are in like the shipping department, that, people that are going to touch these loans after we do them. And so I don't know when we're going to get turned on, where we have to wait for everybody to get their log into the portals the same way that you did. I thought there was a chance. I didn't want to say we'd have it today, and I'm glad I didn't, because I don't think we will. I guess we could, that's still a possibility, but I believe we'll have it ready to go early next week, if not Monday. And so you'll be able to see that product and pricing in Optimal Blue starting on Monday. And then just a quick aside, I think that it's still not clear to me if we're going to see the extra 50 basis points on the LMIT programs after you lock the loan. If you'll see the 50 basis points show up, if they'll adjust it in OB and they'll adjust it in Compass, but know that if the property's in that, you'll get the extra 50 basis points. So I just wanted to add that. So who wants to start? Who has an idea? First, you know what, Dean, you sent me and Mike White a pretty good email about what you did yesterday and the experience that you had yesterday. And I think this is kind of alludes to what I was talking about when I sent out that original video message. Do you want to share what you did and what the result was?
Yeah, so I reached out to the COO of the Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group, and I got a meeting with her. I've been wanting to talk to her about the Zenith at Work program for a little while. And so we just, she told me a little bit about the company and what they were doing. And I asked the question if they ever recruit doctors out of state. And she said, well, we just made an offer yesterday to somebody up in Minnesota that's going to start in September. And then I told her a little bit about the program. She goes, yeah, that sounds like a great program. I'd love to get you introduced to them. And then I asked her, who do you know? I'm guessing as the CEO of a medical organization, you probably know other COOs or other people that run medical organizations. Based on what I told you, is this something that you think they would see some value in? She goes, absolutely. Let me start making a list of folks that I could introduce you to. And so she wanted me to send her more information on the Zenith at Work program, more information on the physician loan program. And then we're going to catch back up next week and kind of go from there. So it was a great meeting. She was super receptive to it. And I think it would work with any size organization, that has doctors. She did ask me, I said it was for MDs, and she asked me about, well, what about DOs? Unfortunately, I took your advice and I read through that really well, and I go, yep, it counts for DOs too. And so yeah, it went really well. So I've got,
what's a DO?
I'm not even sure what a DO is, but I know it's on the list. It says DO.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a list that said it qualifies for MDs, DOs, different doctor type of titles. The key was, as they said, was residency. Like if they have to do a residency.
Okay.
Because the guy,
the doctor of osteopathic medicine, fully trained and licensed doctor in multiple areas.
There you go. Well, that's what he said, is that if they have doctor in their title, then but not I know it's not chiropractors.
Yeah.
Right. So that question that came up a lot. Well, good job. Great. Good job. Good job just putting it out there. And, you know, you're still not even 100% sure what the product is, but good job in putting it out there. Casey, this was your idea. What were you thinking? What ideas have you like? What have you figured out? I mean, it may not be that complicated, guys. I mean, medical organizations, first of all, go through your database. Who is in there? Who's a doctor in your database? If you have any doctor at all, this is definitely going to be the kind of person that you're going to want to reach out to. And then anybody that works in any kind of a medical field. But Casey, go ahead. Sorry. I asked you a question and then I answer one for you. Sorry.
No, it's an interesting thing because there's a lot of ways that you can use it. So with the doctor program, the way that they're talking about getting creative with income is so cool because, you know, those of us that have done doctor loans in the past or worked with doctors, they've always got weird structures for their pay when they're starting a new job or when they're transferring from somewhere. So that's going to be a really, really cool thing. And I think, Dean, like you said there, being able to say, hey, do you recruit from out of state? Because when they have that contract offer, you know, maybe Fannie Freddie, you're going to get them in within 90 days. But with this one, we could do jumbo with it as well, which most of them are going to probably buy something that's going to be jumbo.
I seem to remember,
really looking at,
Ryan, you're on the call. I don't know if, no, you weren't here, but when we had, it seemed like it was a lot of that. It seemed like when we were doing it before, it was a lot of people that were just new residents moving from another state coming into this market. That seemed like what a lot of the opportunity was.
Yeah, and I think that's because I've had that conversation with, you know, one of the realtor groups I do. They do a decent amount of doctors that are coming in from out of state. You know, we run into issues with income. You know, one of them is, you know, where it's contract work where they're called locums pay and couldn't get them approved for anything. So they had to go use a different doctor program where I think this one would have fit it nicely. So knowing how, I think one of the big things for all of us is going to know how to use that income and how to get creative with that portion of it. And the marketability there is going to be great. The thing that I was really looking at was the LMIT. And I asked this to Dave the other day when I first thought about it. It's how are we targeting the listing agent and how are we allowing them to market this to their potential buyers? So if we see a listing agent and they have a listing in this area and we're calling them up and saying, hey guys, listen, we have a program where we want to give back to the community. We want you to be able to pass this benefit on to the potential buyers. We want your seller to be able to say, hey, we'll give you a credit. If you're using this lender, you can get an additional credit in this by purchasing this house. But it's not a dollar amount, right? Say it's a $500,000 house. We can't say, hey, you're going to get a $5,000 credit because we don't know what their potential loan will be. So I think it's, and I don't know, and this was one of my questions, can we do it this way is, can we say to the listing agent, you can advertise this with a credit up to, call it 97% LTV. So the highest loan amount that we could do on that home, or you could even say 100%, a credit up to $5,000, depending on qualification. Because if they can advertise that,
well,
you know, it depends on the
it's
agent.
50
Will
basis.
they want
It's
to talk
50.
to?
It's 50 basis.
Yeah, 50 basis points.
Yeah.
Sorry, not 100. Yeah, sorry, $2,500 credit, which is still a substantial.
I think
thing
that
to
you can
advertise.
say that. I think that you can say it just like that. Is like, hey, I have a program for properties. My company targets different different zip codes in Denver that we don't target them. We have a program that will help these underserved communities. And this listing qualifies for a 50 basis point credit towards interest rate or closing costs for anybody who uses us for the loan. And it's 0.5% based on the loan amount. So if they're doing a VA loan, it's 50 basis points on a $500,000 house. It's $2,500. If they're putting down $100,000, it's 50 basis points on 400. So it's $2,000. So we have this option. Can I build you a flyer for that? And because it's just another added incentive for that. I just think any listing agent that you find that's got a property listed in one of these areas is going to go, yeah, I would love that. Like, who's going to say no? Right. I mean, why would they? Nobody would say no. It's like going, yeah, that would be great. Even though, they can't steer you there, but they could have like, I would want to have a stack of my flyers. Like, this home qualifies for a 50 basis point reduction up to, 0.5% of the loan amount towards closing costs or interest rate. I can't imagine why a listing agent would say, no, I don't want that flyer. Right? Like, why would they say no?
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to say, you can get up to a credit of $2,500, right? Not everyone's going to get that full $2,500, but it's then coaching that listing agent on how they can have that conversation with a potential buyer, right? Because they're not getting that credit unless they use us. Can they force them to use us? No, of course not.
No.
But they can easily just say, hey, have a conversation, reach out to Casey, reach out to Christine, reach out to whoever it is, and have a conversation to see if that credit is going to be beneficial to you. And that's going to get you a foot in the door right away. And then you've gotten an agent that's going to start using it.
And I might say, like, instead of basis point, since people don't necessarily know what that means.
No, right. You're right.
Like a discount on the rate or discount at closing costs. And then I would have like a little, like a mortgage coach at the listing price, and then maybe a couple other options, but just like have a chart there on the flyer. It'd be cool if we all had the same flyer or something similar, or we all use just the same one to give to all of our realtors. Because then it's just, I can just type in the numbers myself, maybe, because I could make it so many more of them. Like, I'd just be able to duplicate it again and again and again, with that 50-point discount. That's my thought.
Yeah. That's an awesome idea. Like, if there's just a general template that we have that we can use for the home, like plug in a photo onto that flyer, plug in the listing price, and plug in, hey, here's your maximum. It's $1 million house. You can get up to a credit of $5,000.
Yeah. It can apply to $1 million house, guys. Like, it doesn't have to be, these aren't going to be 300,000. There aren't any $300,000 houses. So go ahead, Jacqueline, you had your hand raised. It looks like somebody else.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the listing emails that were going out, to kind of piggyback on what Jessica brought up the other day, is this is just another incentive. So if all you're doing with those listing emails is just plugging them into the sheet and then letting the email go out, like, you're doing yourself a disservice and your agent. So what I would recommend you're doing is for you to plug in, check the LMIT website, see if they qualify, and then you should be preparing a mortgage coach regardless for the agent. And then when it goes out after the weekend, if you should be following up with those agents and find out, hey, did you go under contract? Let's talk about a seller concession. Let's talk about 2-1 buy downs. Let me help you get strategic on how you offer this, so that they can add something into the MLS listing that says, hey, this qualifies for an additional credit if you go with my preferred lender, or whatever the case may be. So there's a bunch of ways with just the listing information you already have, and then making sure your buyer's agents are also letting you know, be like, hey, we've got this new program. Send me the address when you've got a listing coming up, because it might qualify for this new low to moderate income opportunity that we have, that we're trying to help these clients, so that they can put that in the listing immediately, because now you've got that buyer, that agent's trust already. So you can just help further strengthen those listings, and maybe you can be the lender on both sides of that transaction. So that would be my recommendation there, is utilizing that information we already have access to, and having some kind of a follow-up if your agent put a listing on that report for the week, and making sure that you're checking in with them. Because I'm seeing a ton of price reduction emails lately, and none of them are doing concessions.
Let me
I'm
ask
not
you
convinced
this. Let me
anybody
ask you this.
knows how it works still.
I always feel like when a listing agent is saying, if you use my preferred lender, it's people put their guard up. And would it be better if the listing agent said, I kind of feel like I like language that says, there is a lender that offers a 50 basis point or a 0.5 point credit, or however you would say it. To Jessica's point, you can't say 50 basis points, but however you would say it, there's a lender that offers a credit on homes in this zip code that that the buyer can qualify for up to, and then do whatever the purchase price is so it's a $500,000 house, say up to a $2,500 closing cost credit from a lender. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, but they offer an extra $2,500 because of where this home is. I think I think it makes sense to figure out a way to have them. I mean, they're not going to say that to every buyer that looks at their house, of course, right? But I'm wondering if it could be part of a listing, like if you could get them to add that to their listing language, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because when the 2-1 buy downs were super popular, I saw a lot of agents putting that in the MLS. And so I think this is just an added benefit that you can drop into the MLS. To be like, hey, this home qualifies for a reduction in rate or closing costs with some blah, blah, blah loan program, contact listing agent for additional details, and then they can choose to reach out or not.
Right. Right.
I have a random thought really quickly. I mean, we haven't seen the pricing yet. I'm assuming it's going to be competitive, right? In terms of the conventional pricing, it's not going to be
That's
the
what I was
rate.
going to say,
This
Casey. I was like,
$2,500 rate buy down would be the same as
right.
Penny
It's
Mac.
like, are they going to
No.
be the best price? Because if they're not, then it doesn't matter.
No,
Be
it
completely
should
honest.
be. No, it should be the best price. It should be competitive with everybody else and then the best price. Right. So if we're, because of the extra 50 basis points, we should be competitive. It's not going to be better than everybody else and then the extra 50 basis points.
Well, that's the
It should
thing
be
though. Is like you could
competitive
just
to
pick
everybody
I
else's
mean,
price and then
could-
another 50 basis points because of it's in that track.
Okay. Because my other thought is like, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. Is like, what if we start pricing this out and PAH is way better and we can just give them a 50 basis point credit?
I mean, I guess that could happen.
I
That
mean, it
shouldn't
could
happen.
their investors are very differently priced, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, there's only a couple that are competitive right now.
Right. Like that, I suppose anything could happen. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have any
we just need to
control
see the
over
pricing.
PHH deciding they want to buy the market or not.
Yeah.
And whatever Huntington's doing. So yeah, we don't know, but 50 basis points is 50 basis points. It's a reason to pick up the phone. So like this isn't you. I don't want to turn this. We shouldn't want to turn this into, we have the lowest rate or the lowest price. Like we have an incentive here that you can take advantage of. And so
We need to be talking to them about expanding their current demographic and also going after another one. And that's what my conversation has been with agents. Like a lot of them have slowed down. So what are you doing to help your current demographic? If that's low to median income, or those areas, we have a program for that. Have you thought about, and that's what you can go into the doctor program and get into a partnership with that. Something that will expand what they're able to do right now in the current market that we're in and affordability. That's how I've been getting my appointments.
Yeah, I agree with Christine. I think this is a door opener. This is just another tool. It's another value add that we can be sharing with agents. Like not everybody's going to qualify for the doctor program, but we want everybody to want everybody to know we have it. And this, I mean, like, this is just like when Home Ready first came out and people didn't know what it was or how to use it. It's just, you may not qualify for it because you make too much money, but hey, we have this program and it does qualify for discounts. And if other lenders don't know how to do that, then that's on them. So I think this is a value add initially, and then, okay, who can we help?
well, it's a really
You
good
can't
point.
be doing the same thing in a changing market with higher rates. You have to have things that make you different. And that's a conversation to have with your agents.
I just, something else that just occurred to me in your pre-approval conversations, this could become part of your pre-approval conversations. What part of town are you looking in? Let me tell you about something else we have. This would really help solidify, especially that the person who's like, well, I'm shopping around is like going, well, you're not going to find anybody with an extra 50 basis points like I have. We have an opportunity in the different zip codes. So if the zip code that you're looking in, you could share this, you could share the search with them. Like, here, go check where the houses that you're up. Was that something that you would want to do? Give them access to the mapping system that lets them go look up a house to see like, hey, does this one qualify? Right. So I think it's, like you said, it's a door opener. And I based on my initial look at the rates that Huntington's sending me, the raw prices look very competitive to our raw prices. So if I'm comparing raw to raw price, meaning before there's any markup, this looks like a pretty competitive company. And I said the same thing to the guys, like going, well, how are your rates anyway? Like, because if he goes, dude, we're always very competitive. And it's like, all right, well, he's not going to say our rates suck, but I'm assuming they're going to be, and based on what I looked at, they looked pretty decent. So they would have come in pretty dang close to the top of the list, if not the top of the list. So, but I do think it should be part of your pre-approval conversation. Dennis, you've raised your hand a couple of times and I've not answered. I've not called on you. What were you going to say?
Well, it's because you're all thinking and answering all the questions as we go, or statements I was going to make. It's great. Jacqueline, I mean, yeah, the listing emails is perfect. Basically, you can kind of disclose around anything as far as what the offering is. So you can just kind of put an asterisk and say up to or whatever, so it doesn't have to be super bold. And then the other question I had is there a negative connotation to a listing agent putting low to moderate income located in a low to moderate income area? So I think
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't use those words.
Right. So we need to be careful on how that gets portrayed and how it gets portrayed to the buyer too, because they're like, well, I'm not a low to moderate income person.
Yeah.
So just people are sensitive.
I wouldn't care if I wasn't a low to moderate income person if I was going to save an extra, even if I was going to save $1,500 over $2,500. It doesn't matter. Like if I'm going to save some money, I want to save some money. I don't care what you call me. If I'm saving money, I'm happy. Right.
Right. But people need to know why that house is in that low to qualifying area. Are we buying a house in a blighted area? Is that why? Or, I mean, people are sensitive. So
yeah, no, I get it. Jessica, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think one, it would be cool to get like a template email going where when we get a Zenith effect or we know of a listing that does fit within this, we have a template email that we all maybe we all make our own, but it has these points addressed on it. Here's the website to go to. Here's, you select 2022. Here's the verbiage that you could add to the MLS for this. So they could just copy paste. A lot of times they just want to copy paste anything, whatever you say. And then I like the idea of adding this to the pre-approval conversation, but I might say add it to your intake, because you could just say, hey, can you pull up one of the houses that you've been looking at and what's the zip code? All right, I'm going to put it in my system and see if we can offer you an additional discount on the rate or closing costs.
That's not a bad idea. Ryan?
I think it'd be a great idea to do like a quick webinar with all your agents with this. Get every agent on board and show them the map. And because with like what Spire was doing with like Metro DPA, showing them their little program that like ran out of money within like a month with that little like grant program that Metro DPA was hosting. I could see a lot of their agents were like, oh, this is cool, right? So this would be a really good way to just train your agents and also get them to a point of like, maybe even they look it up before sending it to you. Hey, Ryan, this qualifies, right? So like they're part of your army of like showing this program too. So like
that might be the best idea I've heard. That's a really good idea.
Get everybody on there. Do a couple webinars, invite every single realtor and just show them like what this program is about. Give them a like 10-15 minute call, and that way it's just a good one-to-many touch. And then you can do like a one-to-one follow-up and just see. And then you could even do like, hey, you know what? I saw out of your last 15 transactions, 10 of these would have qualified, so or whatever, right? Like you could definitely get some mileage out of all that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And maybe couple that with a doctor program too, right? Like show them both. And just
excellent. That's an excellent idea. Yeah. Again, the opportunity here is that you have a couple of really unique product offerings, and the more that you can share that with the people that you're doing business with, the better. It's just that simple. And I love that idea of, and just as an aside, Karen didn't want Renee Miller to put, Renee emailed me this morning. She goes, hey, Karen doesn't want this in the hub because it's not available for anybody at VIP. And I sent her an email back and I go, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So it's going to be somewhere else. And I go, it is a pretty good get. And she goes, yeah, especially that doctor program and that LMIT program. She goes, this is amazing. So it's a pretty good program, and you do have it exclusively. I don't know, for those of us that compete with Aspire Clowns gang. I'm sorry, they're not clowns. They're fine. I'm good friends with Turner. You do have a product they don't have, right? And that's a difference maker. And so it's a reason I want you to know that you should have confidence, like going, I have something, I have some value to add here that isn't like every other lender. And so that's worthy of a phone call, right? And that's what you want to be able to take advantage of. And I love the idea of doing, hey, I'm doing a Zoom meeting on our new incentive program for targeted zip codes in the Metro Denver area throughout the Front Range of Colorado. And I'd like you to be a part of it and show you how to take advantage of it, that you can share it with buyers that are looking in these areas. And so, yeah, they're low to moderate income tracks, but it's based on census data that has nothing to do with the price of the house or the income of the borrower. Isn't that cool? Let me show you how it works. And that's it. You got to have a nice spin to it without focusing on the low to moderate income part of the discussion. Dennis, did you raise your hand again? Dennis?
Yeah, sorry.
You guys are gonna start blurting out.
You guys are good. What about a mailer to all the veterinarian offices? Like on a consistent basis, you can get, I mean, it's easy to find those names and just have them addressed very personally to the doctor. So it doesn't look like it's just a spam.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of my thoughts.
There are
Old school.
Yeah, I'll give this idea to anybody that wants to take advantage of it. If you don't want to, I was going to do it. Like in this office building on Crestline, it's mostly medical, and many of the buildings around us are medical offices. You're not supposed to solicit most of them, so I wouldn't just walk in there. But it's like, why not a personalized letter to the MD that just is like, hey, I have 2 things I want to share with you. I see you have I'm a neighbor. You have a no soliciting sign. So I didn't want to like walk into your office, but I have 2 things that I'd like to share with you. And we have a program called Zenith at Work, and we have a 100% financing program for doctors. So if you're recruiting a doctor and somebody needs a loan, I just want to let you know that I have this product. I'm happy to come and explain this to you. It's just old fashioned marketing. You could then like, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone and make a phone call 3 days after I mailed the letter and just go, hey, I just wanted to let you know I mailed the letter and I'd be happy to meet with somebody. And then, you know, because they hate, I wouldn't want to walk into the office that has no soliciting signs. Like, I know it says no soliciting, but maybe I would in this office building because, you know, we are neighbors. If somebody's not going to do that, and then I'm going to do it because, like, dude, they're just sitting here, and there's no reason why. You do have to cast a wide net, and this is an amazing opportunity to have a 100% financing program. So the doctor program has no zip code limits, Casey. So they're building hospitals. I mean, the one thriving industry in this country is medical, right? Like nurses are making a fortune, doctors are making a ton of money, and they're just like, and all these doctors come out of freaking residency and they're dying to not be poor anymore. And so they want to go and buy the big house, even though they're not making the great money yet. And this 100% financing program was a gold mine for that. They're like, oh yeah, cool, because I don't have any money. And 100% financing with no MI is just nearly impossible to turn down. And when you can, and it's the best doctor program on the market, bar none. So this is really a question of how many people do you want to talk to? And if you're going to talk to a lot of people, you're going to do a lot of business. It's just getting the word out. I love Ryan. I think that was probably a great idea of like going, hey, I've got a new program. Here's what it is. Put a few PowerPoint slides together. We can work on them as a group and share them because they're not anything. I mean, we all have it, and I'm going to use it as a great recruiting magnet, right? Like I want to get other loan officers like going, hey, I had a couple, 3 programs here. The Zavvy program is a solid program. Like we have a cash buyer program. Do you guys have that? We have a doctor program, 100% financing with no MI. We also have a program for low to moderate income census tracts. You can offer a 50 basis point incentive. Let's talk. Because part of what's difficult in this market today is setting yourself apart from everybody else. So I think there's an opportunity there as well. So I think that's where you guys can make get the most bang for the buck out of this product is, first of all, you got to learn it and know it so that you know how it works and you can talk about it consistently. It's we don't have a TBD. I will tell you, on the doctor program, we don't have any kind of a TBD program. Any of these LMIT deals are typical Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, structure. So we're not going to be able to submit anything to Huntington to get a TBD approval. But if you want something underwritten TBD by our underwriters, we can do that here we can have it submitted for TBD, even though we know we're going to send it in because it's just Fannie Freddie guidelines. And, but you got to learn those overlays too, because they sent you a list of what their overlays are. So make sure that you, make sure that you're looking at that as well. And then, if you have a scenario that's challenging and you want, I know somebody here has already reached out to Patrick, our rep, about a doctor program. I think it was Haber, because I think Haber, it might've been Haber. I don't know if one of you reached out to Patrick, but I think it was Haber who reached out to him and said, hey, I've got this situation. Does this work? And so Patrick seems like he's super helpful dude. He'll be on vacation next week, just FYI, and there's a backup person. So that you have, I think you have she gave us their contact information in those PowerPoints. So there you go.
One
Anybody
last
else?
thought. Yeah. Does anybody know anybody that knows anything about SEO marketing, like Google stuff? Because doctors, the first place they go, a lot of them, or will go search doctor loan. And if they're like in the DTC and we do good SEO marketing for that, that could be a really good product to try and market. And then the more we get like doctor loan reviews on our Googles, the more that'll pop up too. So just a thought there, if we can get connected.
That's a great idea.
Dennis seems to have some knowledge on that. But because G was like, yeah, maybe we do some Facebook marketing. I'm like, Facebook ads don't really do much anymore. They kind of just like get spit out to more of the people that already follow you. But Google
at
ads
a
could be
minimum,
good.
put it on your webpage. Minimum, just
Yeah.
do a little write up on it, post it in there like a blog, and then just get with marketing and make sure that the back end's having that indexed correctly. So that Google's, when it's scraping, it's finding that. I'll help you out if you want, Ryan, for sure.
Cool.
Can we all get that? I mean, I would be
Yeah.
comfortable putting it
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean-
page, like if we have a doctor loan flyer and have marketing just do it across the board. I don't know.
Yeah, we totally should.
We should get like a doctor loan like page added to our website too.
Yeah, now for sure. Yeah. I wanted to make sure I had it.
like
Yeah.
a landing page. Or something,
Yeah.
right?
I wanted to make sure I had it first.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the phone calls I'm going to start getting.
Well,
Now that we're talking about making it more public, I'm just worried, like, is anyone else gonna get this? Like, is the Spire gang?
Well,
gonna
just
get
to be
access?
clear, it's out there. People have this in our market. They don't sell it. They don't market it. It's really interesting. Spire and VIP people won't have it. There's big companies that have it. Fairway, he said yesterday that he goes, yeah, Fairway is one of my biggest customers, but hardly anybody does it in Colorado. So it isn't like, I don't know why people don't, it's just loan officers. I don't know. I can't explain it. Are you actively trying to do a lot of business? And, if you're actively trying to do a lot of business, you take something like this and really run with it. And if you're not, so everybody always wants exclusivity. I want to be the only one. It's like, well, yeah, I want to be the only one too, but other people have it. It's not like it doesn't exist. I think he said Guild has it. And I'm like, I have never heard of Guild selling this. He goes, yeah, they don't sell it. So dude, I don't know how to explain that. I have no answer for you. I just know that
Cherry
you should
Creek
be.
has it too.
Who's that?
Cherry Creek has it. They've beat me out of a deal a couple times. So, but they don't market it.
I think you said cross country on the call the other day too.
Yeah, I think he said cross country. So it's like,
A bunch of people
how
have it.
not?
Nobody uses it.
Yeah, it's just weird. And I think it's one of those things where people don't take the time to dive in and really learn how to sell a product, how to, learn the guidelines so that they can be an expert at it. It's like I said, it's what Ken Perry came in and told us. He goes, how did I become the top producer at my company in the first year? I studied all the guidelines and I knew how to do loans. And nobody else did. Everybody was just trying to take orders and see what they could get away with without putting a lot of effort into it. And we're different. So jump in with both feet.
Didn't
That'll
we
be the
have?
best. Go ahead.
Didn't we have Zenith at work with Children's Hospital at some point? Did someone have a contact there, or
I think it was
that
Matt
someone that was
Baldwin.
gone now?
I think it was Matt Baldwin. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Matt. But just go to your database, guys, and see who do you know that works in different hospitals and be like, can you connect me? Like, just like we would market any other Zenith that worked, like pull a report, find out who your doctors are, tell them, like, hey, I've got this new program for the next time you want to buy a house. But in the meantime, can you hook me up with your doctor's office or whatever the case may be?
I was thinking just now, like, you know, kind of getting that webinar to go, you know, like maybe this is the, I want to talk to you about the top 4 most competitive programs that I offer. And I've already begun to position Zenith Home Loans as like the most competitive lender in Colorado as far as winning against other offers. So this is just another way that we kind of stand apart. So come hear about these 4 programs that we offer. So it could be the Zavi program 1 and 2, and then these 2. So maybe that's a way to get the webinar going.
I like that approach. What are the 4 things that we're doing? What are the innovations that we've been implementing here at Zenith Home Loans to help our realtors win more business? I would love to, I'm going to do a webinar for you to show you, like, it's a tough market. We all know it. And let me share with you what we've been doing at Zenith Home Loans to help our realtors. I love that. That's a great approach. That would be a great approach for the webinar that you want to do with your realtors if you wanted to do a group webinar with a bunch of agents, which was Ryan's idea. I think that's a great idea. All right, folks, this was a good session. Thank you. I took some notes. We'll talk to, I'm going to be getting, like I said, I wanted to make sure I didn't have, he gave us that initial flyer, and Paula already has that initial flyer, and she goes, well, do you want me to make one? And I said, why don't you wait until it's done? Because it wasn't done yet. And I just wanted to make sure we actually have it done. It looks like it's done and the pricing is going to be in, and I want to get you guys a flyer as soon as I can, at least an initial one. And then the LMIT stuff is a little trickier. Like I said, I don't want it to be like we do loans in low to moderate income tracks. And like I said, I think people are funny. That's a really good point, is that like going, I'm not low to moderate income. I'm not going to buy there. Like, I don't want to buy in a low to moderate income. It's like going, dude. And then I think it's a fallacy, because if you look at some of these zip codes, like, it doesn't matter. It's just what was the census the last time somebody took it.
Yeah, and I would just say it's census data that we use to decide, you know, that the government decides whether or not they're going to help us with the credit.
I would guess that neighborhood that John Arsenault lives in, that Baker neighborhood, is in that tract. But, you know, half those houses are freaking $1 million homes, right? And so I don't think it's not going to have anything to do with the value of the home. It's going to have everything to do with what the census was when they took the last census.
I don't think it even needs to be brought up as that. I think it's just simply, this home is in a zip code that qualifies for a credit up to $5,000 because it's $1 million home. That's it. Not that we're the specific lender that offers it, not that it's low to moderate income. You're just strictly saying, hey, this home will qualify for this potential credit.